Good morning. How's it going, guys? How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing okay this morning. We'll get started in a couple minutes. Morning. Where's everybody tuning in from today? Brooklyn, awesome. Thanks for tuning in. Let me see. Let me just make sure that everything's working. Hope everybody's staying safe and having fun and creating stuff. Getting creative juices going. 7 a.m. over there or 7 p.m. I can't read your name. Your signature is so small. Spain, hey, how's it going, man? Make this a little smaller so I can actually read it, because blue on blue, it doesn't read very well. Yeah, we'll get started in a couple minutes. Just we'll be talking about this mask that I created and the final product, or at least the output, and some of the casting that happened. I didn't get to finish it this weekend painting, but maybe today I'll get to paint it, and then it's ready to wear. Saudi Arabia, all right, awesome. It's a long ways from California, but that's awesome. Thanks for tuning in, appreciate it. Yeah, I'm a VFX artist. Well, used to be a VFX artist. Now I'm more like a tech, everything artist. Yeah, that's good. Flood yourself with knowledge and then put it to practice. Don't just watch tutorials. Actually, watch them and then do them. I think that's the best practice. Because sometimes people just watch tutorials all day and then they never actually put it to practice. So I would suggest, practice, make the mistakes, and then move on to making awesome stuff. Yeah, let's see. We'll wait like 2 more minutes and then we'll get started. But here, meanwhile, let me give you guys my social media website and all that stuff. So here's my website. This is magvfx.com. If you guys want to go check out some of my past work, from commercials, music videos, all kinds of variety of stuff. You guys can follow me also on Instagram if you guys want to see what I'm up to daily, or a lot of all kinds of different projects. And if you guys want to follow along with me, you guys can download my UI on here. It has all the stuff that I have that I'm going to be showing you guys. So if you guys want to follow along, brushes, materials, all that jazz. And if you guys want to buy me a coffee, feel free to buy me a coffee too. since we can't social interact anymore with people, you know, we got to do it virtually. But yeah, let me post some of these links for you guys, so that you guys can check those out. Let's see. Yeah, Unreal 5 looks amazing, right? Pretty cool. Oh, my voice is too low? Okay, thanks for letting me know. Let's see. What about now? How about now? That's, let me lower the music a little bit. Is that better now? Yeah, where's my coffee, right? We need that coffee to get creative. But yeah, I appreciate I know some of you guys have been donating for the UI and all that stuff. Appreciate that. That helps keep me going with little things, you know, here and there that I might need for the stream. Still too low? All right, let me see if I could raise that up. What about now? I'm using a new feature that might be making my voice too low, but you guys let me know if this is much better. Right, move it a little closer. Not changing, right? I see the bars over here going to yellow now, so it should be better. Okay, cool. It might be just maybe your setup specifically that's not too loud, so maybe check that. Okay, awesome. Thanks for confirming. Oh, what's up with the ears? Well, this is a scan that I did a long time ago. It's probably an, I don't know, 10-year-old scan. I had a lower scan, so this is just for me, for placement, just to get something a little more accurate that fits my face. But yeah, let's switch over to checking out the print and then checking out the cast. You guys want to check that out? Let's see. So here's the print, the original print that I did on my Form 2. You know, as you can see, the inside was just patched together. So it seems to be working. Seems to be working a little bit. Let me lower the music. Yeah, that's probably better there, right? So it's kind of heavy. It's a little thick, you know, but it's pretty strong. So this was the print that I made a couple weeks ago, and this was a simple project that started off as a, you know, like one day project technically. Like literally, I just like, well, let me make a mask, and then the next day I finished it. So it wasn't too bad. So this was a quick one. So that was the print, and then this is the first casting of it, which was also made in white and gray. But then this is like the print. It's super lightweight, and it's flexible a little bit, and it's way better. Some people were asking me about what am I gonna do for the breathing, right? Well, what I did is that I cut the holes out for the nostrils to actually be able to breathe once I have my other mask on, so that it works pretty good. But yeah, it fits very well, you know, as you can see. So I'll be painting this. I really have 2 paint jobs in mind, so I might have to cast another one and paint both of them at the same time. So I'll hopefully be doing that today. Then I can wear it out to when I go out shopping or whatever, you know. But yeah, what do you guys think? It's really cool that you can just create something in ZBrush and then print it out yourself, you know, and then have it ready and have it in real life. But yeah, if you guys don't have like your own head scans, what I would recommend is just grabbing one of these guys. Let's see, either just a generic kit, or to be honest, I would probably you could start with that one, or one of these head planes. I would probably start with that. You know, I think that's a good start just for your base, since it's symmetrical and it's a simple piece of geometry. But I kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit of a breakdown, you know, like let's see. So the main thing is to also make sure you use this as a guide for the fitment. So I was just making sure that I had enough gap, and some of my other friends wanted a copy of this, so I made it slightly bigger so that it fits more of a general shape. But I use this to kind of boolean my face out, put some keys for this stuff. Let me turn light booleans on. There you go. Let me turn my face off. I made these keys so that you could put loops through it. And then, you know, I just kind of use my face as well to kind of boolean that out and make sure it was thin. It wasn't too thick, so that I don't print waste material. He tell me the name of the program. Oh yeah, the program is just ZBrush. I just did everything in ZBrush, and I just printed it out using the preform. But because the printer's so small, I had to cut this guy in half. Which, let's see, they're here. Yeah, so here it is in 2 pieces. Right, and those had keys so that when you put it together, it stays together. But because I wasn't able to, the print volume is kind of small, I had to cut it in half, and it fit just perfectly. But yeah, that's pretty important to put keys on this stuff, because when you're putting it together, and if you have a misalignment, without those keys, you're gonna probably glue it together wrong, slightly off. And here, at least it's as close as it can be to what I had here, you know. So I would highly recommend that if you guys are thinking about doing anything like that, making the keys. But yeah, this is kind of like the whole thing. It didn't take it each side took about 18 to 20 hours a piece, and then the cleanup was very minimal. It's mostly just done here at the bottom, like mask it. A lot of it was in here where I'm masking. You know, there was some there and some at the bottom of the lip, but it was super easy to clean up. And a lot of it was inside, so it doesn't matter. So it made it a super easy thing to do. The awesome part too is that this is the first time I casted and molded something this more like faceware. I always cast and mold like model kits, but not anything like this. So it was a cool experiment too. So check out my Instagram for that type of stuff. I know a lot of you guys that are making this type of stuff would like to know how to do that. And to be honest, it's pretty easy. It's just a matter of having an area to be able to do this and you know, kind of keep it clean. Like, because it's just going to get messy. Like, make sure you put paper down, make sure you have gloves on, all that type of stuff, you know. Some of you guys were asking about the back. So you guys can see here how it was put together. Let me show you guys. So I see I just put epoxy inside so you can see the seam. But on the other side, you don't see the seam at all, because I just sculpted over it a little bit. Like, I put the epoxy and then resculpted just a tiny bit of the detail, and that took care of it. That was pretty easy. But those keys are literally the big key of how to keep this stuff together, because without that, you can get misalignments. Oh, thank you. Yeah. The important part was to make sure that it fit me, right? Like, it wasn't too small, because one of the biggest issues is that your cheekbones, you make it too high, or your jaw also, like make sure it's not too tight, because you're gonna have the other ventilator mask, like this type of mask underneath it, you know. So I wanted to make sure that I had this underneath to actually protect me from the virus, but then the other one on top, so that I also made sure that it fit the frame of that. So I think what today we're gonna be doing is we're probably gonna make another one. And then you guys can see it, you know, since the other one I didn't start from scratch here. I just kind of did it on the night, on the whim. We'll start doing one now, and then yeah. So all I did is just take my head, and like I was telling you guys could take the head that you guys have from the ones that comes with ZBrush. And all I did with the guy was is, as you can see, I don't even have that part of my mouth because the scanner couldn't scan my beard. I always had a beard, so that's always an issue with scanning people's faces. So what I do, I just start with a sphere. I just kind of block out my face, you know. I'm just literally stretching a sphere, nothing fancy. And then, you know, kind of trying to get it to fit around my mouth, like if it was a bandana. That's the main thing, right? Like making sure that it's at least wrapping in the facility of the shape. But yeah, you guys are cool checking out how to make a mask, or you guys want to see something else? Or, you know, we could probably split it. Like, we'll probably go back to working on, let's see, do I not have it here? Well, we'll probably go back to working on the insect guy as well, to get that guy going. Just load him up anyways. Just so that I have him. Give me 1 second. Or we could probably go back to work on the alien. I haven't done much work on the alien at all, which I was hoping to really get some stuff done, but not a big deal. It's all good. Slow loading this guy up. So we'll probably go back to continue to work on this guy maybe like in the next hour, but we'll start with the mask and then we'll go from there, or maybe we'll just continue on the mask. We'll see. But just kind of wanted to give you guys an idea. So yeah, we start pretty simple. Keep everything symmetrical. As you can tell, like there was a step here where like you could tell my nose is not symmetrical, slightly off. So that's okay, because when you wear it, you could shift it a little bit. But yeah, so what I'm doing, I'm just shaping it around my face. One thing that I do is use transparency, and I use that to see what's going on with my nose, right? Because like you don't want it to be going inside and kind of just penetrating through, you know. So that you want to make sure that it's at least sticking out through there. Later on, we could hollow the inside, but for now, we're just worried about the outside part, right? So I'm making sure that I have enough room for my mouth and my beard, and then kind of estimating where my my chin is at. One thing we can do is let me see. Let me save this as a new mask file. That way, if I close it, it doesn't go away. Because I think when I load the other project that I'm going to load right now, like if you start with this guy, probably 128 or it's probably good enough to start. But you see, it's going to replace all these files right now. So, or it's going to crash. So good thing I saved, even though we haven't done much. But that's a lesson for you guys. Constantly be saving. Let's give it a second for it to reboot. Come on. Okay. So let's load up that file, because I don't know why it crashed, even though it's just a simple thing. There we go. Project. Let's load this guy up. So we just want to load him so we could load him into the other profile. So let me now go load my file that I just saved with my actual head, because that has the real scale. So that helps a lot to make sure that you have the real scale of this stuff, you know? So I mostly work with perspective off for those guys that are wondering. And then I kind of check my stuff with perspective. So here, if we don't know where my chin is, one thing that I would do is insert that tool. And then we have to see where that's at. As you can tell, that's actually smaller than my head. We could align my head to that. You know, proportions, of course, are not the same because that's a generic head, and my head is a little different. Oh, muchas gracias. Sí, pues estoy para ayudar. Sorry, just talking in Spanish and somebody replied in Spanish. So here we have this. Now we could kind of see where my chin would potentially be. Maybe it could be a little sticking out a little more, but at least we have a guide, so we could see where we need to push this in or out. You know. So you guys, like I said, you guys can start with that head. Just align it. But yeah, at least we can see where that's at. If we don't need it now, but we just wanted to double check if you guys wanted to do that. So now that we have that, see, we can start seeing some of the issues that we potentially will have if we keep it this way. So let's change this to 5. So right now we're just making the broad strokes. I'm thinking of making something a little different, since I made kind of like a evil looking mask. I'm making something more mechanical, or we'll see. But at least you guys get to see from scratch, and then, you know, make your own. Get inspired to make some cool stuff. So let's see, like some of the stuff that I'm checking out now is like potentially something like this, you know, since it's just the lower part of the face. Of course, I'm a big fan of Hellboy, but I don't want to rip that off. It's just kind of inspired by like, hey, how people dealt with this stuff, you know, neck pieces. If I wanted to make a neck piece, but if I wanted to, let's say, sell these for more people, then maybe the neck piece is not something you want to add, because then it might fit you, but it might not fit other people, you know. But yeah, let's see. I don't know. We'll play around with some designs and see what we can come up with. Now you should keep it pretty low, so maybe. We'll see what we can do with this. How's the music? Is the music okay? Not too boring, not too loud? Yeah, something like the Vader mask could be cool, right? Like that could be kind of awesome. So maybe we'll do something Star Wars inspired. We'll see right now. Maybe we'll get some reference. We'll start without reference, and then we'll go and kind of fine tune it. Let's add a little more resolution so it doesn't look so rough. And one thing too is like making sure that it's not going too high. You know, like it's not kind of starting to get too high. So we'll start tweaking that. But right now it's all about the broad strokes, so we're not worried about anything too fancy. But of course, look at that, it's already penetrating my nose, so we need to make sure we poke that out. But let's check out some reference, or you know, some inspired by. Let's look at some stuff. I guess it'll be cool to do like an alien one as well, right? Like aliens. That could be kind of cool. Let's see, what do we got? So I found this guy too. This guy looks pretty cool. I think it's a concept from Star Wars, so that could be a kind of cool inspired thing. Yeah, let's see. Well, let's just play around with this and see what we can come up with. All right, I'm glad the music is good. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure that it stays So here I'm using the smooth, the very strong one, so that it can really decimate some of this stuff, because maybe it's a little too much sticking out. But that's the whole point. We're just playing with designs and trying to get a better shape. Just trying to see what inspires me. If you guys have any ideas, feel free to shout them out as well. Yeah, you could get it from my Gumroad. I put a link up. If not, I'll post another link, another set of links. So it should be within there, within those links. But yeah, you guys can have that shader. I really like using these two. These are, you know, one with more contrast, one that's softer. So it depends, like kind of what I'm looking at. So we'll see what we come up with. Something that's hopefully cool. You know, I wonder maybe something with an underjaw. That could be pretty cool. So maybe let's play around with that idea. Let's understand it. I think the main thing for these masks is to make them scary, so people stay away from you if you're somewhere out. You know. That's why I did the other mask that was more like an Oni mask with teeth, but maybe we can put some of that into this as well. But we'll see. Sometimes some ideas work, sometimes they don't, but if you don't try it, you won't know. So I can totally see putting some teeth in this. So it's okay if something's sticking in right now. We'll adjust that, you know, because we don't want to have the limitation of my face or somebody's face to kind of like change your design. So like here, I'm thinking like you have a little bit of the cheekbones kind of sticking in and out, you know. But yeah, we'll see where this is going. Let's just go any direction. So right now we're just playing around with some ideas. Nothing fancy. So one thing I learned about the previous mask that I did was maybe having to separate the teeth out, especially like the big canines. Like if I could separate those two teeth out to make their own mold, it probably would have helped me in the bigger mold. It works okay, but it could be better, right? And that's the main thing. Like always learning from your mistakes. Like, well, how can this be better? Um, I think that's a big thing for me. Like, how can we improve this process? So like sometimes thinking about how I can separate those guys helped a lot. But you know, next mask, maybe this one, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. So at this point, I want to keep them all separate, just because I don't want to have to deal with any issues of what if I don't like teeth later, or I don't want them tomorrow, or later on I just don't like them. You know, I could just get rid of them, turn them off, whatever. Or if I put too many or they're too small, I could change them all up. And I think that's what I'm trying to do, kind of keep it all adaptable. Let's see some questions. Yeah, well, the 3D printing process is pretty simple, right? Like you just got to make sure that your model's hollow. You hollow it out, like make it thin, not too thin, but at least 2 to 4 millimeters thickness, so that way it doesn't break or become too fragile, especially when you're molding or you're doing stuff to it. You don't want it to break. That's one thing, so something to consider. But it's really just about making sure that everything's unified together at the end, so that it's one solid piece. Even though we're working on it with multiple pieces at the moment. I wonder if it would be cool if it went around your ear. Also, kind of looking at the jaws, right? Like making sure that the bottom jaw is kind of sticking out more, so that we're starting to get like a flow that feels nice. Maybe let's look up some skull references. This is kind of just going all over the place to see what could be cool to do. So let's see. And then we could make it organic or we could make it mechanical. Either way, it's that's the whole point. It's digital clay. We could do whatever we want. Let's see. So right now I'm just kind of looking up some references, like this is the type of stuff I'm looking up, just different skulls to see what I can get inspired. Like maybe I want longer fangs. Maybe I want to stay away from fangs and only have some front teeth, or put just some really, really long fangs. But I think those could get in the way. So this is just kind of thinking of ideas of cool, like maybe could do something like this, more like a mandrel, So maybe this could be a good inspiration for how we lay our teeth. So let's try that instead of going down. Well, this guy has a lower jaw that's sticking out more, so let's try that first, and then if it doesn't work, then we could change it. But so far, I like where it's going. It feels pretty good so far. What do you guys think? Let's see. Let's duplicate that guy. Put a couple more smaller ones. Make sure there's a little bit of curvature to each one of these guys. So it's not just like they're not just on a flat plane, they're like rounding around the mouth, But also they're not all sharp teeth, right? Yeah, I guess they could be, but if it's some kind of a monster, but they wanted them to, some of them to be kind of like that mandrel where like they start to get flat at the tip. So let's flatten that out. So there's a couple ways to do that, right? You can go in here, mask away that part, hide it, delete it, dynamesh that part, and now you have a flat tooth. Or you can just go in there with the flat brush, like the H polish, and make them flat. So either way, it's, you know, that's kind of idea. Let's see. Yeah, you can put a princess smile on it too. That's true. Another idea is also like, what if you just printed your own face, but like bigger, you know, on top of your own face? So it's like pretty creepy. But I don't know. That might be kind of silly. So one of the tricky things here is to make sure these guys are not touching, because then you won't be able to separate them later, as you saw earlier that I had. So give these guys a little bit of spacing. You know, we could see, it's like, is that working? It's okay. Not terrible, but it's not the greatest thing. Let me just save. Let's see, let's continue this. But yeah, I like working without perspective. You know, switching back and forth, so you guys are wondering what I'm doing. So here, obviously, we need to make this stick out a little bit. And maybe we could have like a little bit wider nose, and then make those nostrils a little deeper so they actually align with my nose, or at least a generic nose, you know? So they could be kind of slits. Maybe like maybe it could be more like a vampire, or not a vampire, a bat, you know? So maybe look up bat too. But instead of it going up, maybe we're going down. So if you look at this stuff, instead of going with those loops that go up, it could be a little bit just inspired by this, you know, kind of creepy stuff. Hey, how's it going, man? 10 mil. Hopefully I'm saying that right. And then maybe this also breaks profile a bit, so it feels more like it. So here's where we could use this to see where my actual math was at. So it seems like it's pretty low, so we could probably bring that up a lot more. So, you know. Yeah, the streams have been pretty good, right? A lot of really cool artists have been doing some streams, and that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I highly suggest you guys check those out if you guys are. We could use a little bit. So here's what we can do to start, since we want to move probably those teeth all together, and they're all separate different groups. We can merge them all together, so we can start just merging them, so we don't have to click every single one. And the nice thing is that they're still separate, so we're not going to dynamesh them together, so that they're we can still have control over them. But like, you know, right now I just moved everything up. So what I can do now is just move the entire thing up as one unit. Yeah, right now I'm just kind of concepting, just playing with ideas. You know, not you know, just the reference is it's kind of a little bit all over the place. So it's a little bit of this, a little bit of this stuff. So you kind of start playing. I'm just trying to get the ball rolling, and then we could figure out what's working, what's not, and then you know get this done. I think that's a lot of it's about that. But yeah, mostly concept theme right now. Just trying to get ideas out and seeing how this is kind of working. If it's working, if it's not, you know. Like here, I'm feeling like this is starting to become too big, so we can start maybe separating this out. Maybe pushing that in a little bit because it's competing with the nose part, right? And it doesn't really need to because they could be in a separate plane. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. This is fun doing this with you guys and kind of just kind of showing you guys the process. If you guys ever get stuck or have any issues, feel free to reach out to me. I think that's my nose sticking out a little bit, so I think we can see that we need to freak that nose. Just make it a little wider. We'll see where it goes. Maybe it could go nowhere, but we're trying to do something, right? Yeah, I'm thinking about it in the Filtrum. That could help. Yeah, we could probably do a version. Maybe I'll do a layer so we can explore the layers. I know some of you guys have not used any layers before. I know that was one of the requests from one of the streams about using layers. I mostly use layers at the end, like when I want to add detail, but it could also be pretty beneficial at this point, you know. So I've been trying to stick to this knife tool that Pablo released. It's pretty nice, brush. I would highly recommend you guys use it. This is how a lot of this stuff starts. It's never perfect, you know. Just ideas that you throw out and you just explore. I know sometimes people think like, oh, you just everything's perfect every time. It's not. So something to consider. Oh, awesome, man. It's cool. Austin, Texas, huh? Get rid of that floor. Yeah, that's one version. It could probably go up higher. Maybe it could go up a little higher so that it looks more like it's. Let's see what else. Let's look up some more reference. This is all about just playing with reference, getting inspired. Anybody want to share some of their projects they're working on? Anything that type of stuff? So use our friend damn standard. So here's where we can start making bigger decisions, right? Like what's was that looking cool? Was that looking cool? I think we could erase a little bit of it, but maybe not too much. That means we also probably have to round this part up to give it more of a muscle. Since we kind of don't have any muscle, but you know, we're seeing what's working. Yeah, it was a scan of my face from like 10 years ago. So it's pretty old. Oh, Japan. Nice. Let's continue with this. Maybe we could do something like those old He-Man characters that had the big jaw that like the lower jaw was metal and the top part is skin. So we could do something like that. But you see, like, yeah, we're giving that muzzle a little more dimension because it was, you know, it was kind of flat, but kind of feels like it has a little bit of a gorilla nose. Let's see if maybe we can refine it with a little bit of inspiration from gorillas. A lot of stuff is just designed, so I'm doing this stuff on the fly. As you guys can see, there's no. It's just all I know. I want to make a mask. It's not like it has to be this specific mask or whatever. So we're doing it as we're going. So if you guys are, you know, it takes a while to get comfortable to do this. You know, it's not the easiest thing to do, especially when people are watching you live. But here are some maybe some. I mean, I could help enhance a little bit like that. You know. If you get it from Pablo's, it came with his pack of clay tools. That's where it came. It's a really good tool. I'm trying to use it to replace Dan Standard. Seems to be working. You know, it's pretty cool. So let's see. Let's give this a little. It's good. It's good that I looked up reference because I want to make this a little bit more round too at the bottom. I was trying to figure out what to do with it, but now that we have some reference, I can push that on as well. But one of the main keys is to stay as low as possible for the longest time, and then you can refine it. You know. Yeah. Try to keep it simple. You know, like simple shapes, and you could see what I'm doing. You know, like I basically this is like a sphere that I'm just pushing out. I'm pushing out the lips a little bit. You know, they might be sticking out way more than what I should be, but it's okay. It's a mask, right? It's you're gonna put another mask underneath that to protect you. Am I done? No, no way. I'm just getting started. You know, maybe the teeth are not working out, but we'll see. We'll play around with that. One thing to do with the teeth is making sure that they're all different polygroups. And what I mean by that is having these guys here so that if I wanted to just move just these guys, I could just isolate those guys out, you know? Maybe he only has small teeth. But one thing I like to do is, as you can see, these two are kind of paired together. So we can do like auto group visible so that they all get separated on that group these those out, and then I can make sure that I come back to group these guys so they're paired. So that way, if I want to just move these guys, I could just move them now, and you know, maybe they need to go further out. In this case, they probably feel, and they're probably also starting to look to silly being too big. So this is where we can just kind of smooth those guys out and shrink them while keeping the pointiness, you know. One thing I want to do is make sure they have a little bit of curvature because once you start smoothing, you start to lose some of that curvature. So making sure that they're, you know, it could be like an orc ape looking thing. It's evil looking. Oh, thanks. You know, start separating these guys out too. So if you want to see them all, you could just mask these guys, right? And then flip the mask and then kind of move those guys by themselves too. Then we can start spraying some of these guys out. So that way they They look spaced out a little nicer. Now that we're getting something that looks, I don't know, kind of cool. Then we could choose to do this canines just a little bigger, so he feels like he's like an ape that's has an underjaw, you know, or underbite. I mean, of course he has an underjaw. And from there, you could do the opposite and mass. These guys. That guy. Move this guy's back a little bit. Maybe put him in as well. Maybe he needs another set there of smaller teeth. Yeah, I like playing around with the shader. Sometimes you start seeing things that, you know, you don't see with the other shaders. Like here, definitely the nose is because my nostrils are kind of sticking out. You can see there, my nose is pretty wide, so I need to kind of tweak that to make it it looks a little more gorilla-like, I guess. But obviously, we're trying to do something different, so we're not going to copy a gorilla. We're just going to. Maybe it could be like a mech gorilla or something. Let's have a little more resolution. Let's go to 64. So when you're dealing with the scale, like the dynamics doesn't need to be that high. It's pretty low. You see 64, and if you look at the mesh, it's starting to get pretty dense, and this is only at 64. So if you can imagine, we go to 512 or something like that, right? It starts to really change. So I don't know, kind of digging that. Seems not too terrible. Let's save it so we can don't lose it. What do you guys think? Let's tweak these teeth a little bit. Just, so if I wanted to tweak them and didn't want to mask each one of them, I think what we can do too is one tool that I like using is a move topological. One of those tools are really nice because then I could just move individual teeth. Yeah, like I could tweak just these teeth. Where if I use just the move tool, it grabs all of them. And sometimes you want to do that, and there's times when you don't want to do that, right? So this is one of those times I don't want to do that. So it's easy for me to kind of tweak these guys. And if I make my brush really big, I'm moving the whole object, which is pretty cool, right? And one thing too, if you let's say we're starting to run into issues where Dynamesh looks kind of ugly, one thing we can do is see some of these guys are starting to become kind of warped and the shapes are getting pretty unusable. Like you're starting to stretch polygons. So we could do Dynamesh, but I would say keep groups, right? So what that's going to do is not fuse any of the groups together, but it's also going to give you the resolution we need. So let's see. See, so now we have the resolution. It's nice and clean, so we could keep stretching those guys out. But none of they're still separated out. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, that's my head scan. Since I'm going to be wearing this, I figure why not use myself instead of a dummy model. But it could be anything, you know. It doesn't have to be like I was saying. You could use the other stuff. So one thing too is like from profile, yeah, sure. If I wanted to cast these separate, then I have to make sure that they're sticking out. But if I wanted to cast them all together, I could probably fuse them to the top of the face, or to the top of the lip, and then there won't be an issue when I'm casting and molding. But this guy, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe we'll see what we're gonna do. We don't know yet. But we're getting there. So I like kind of where this is going. So let's fill some of this stuff up. The nice thing is from this, we can keep it organic, or we can actually add fur, or we can make it more like a robotic. inspired thing and put like cuts and stuff and like super trims. Oh, you could just do it with your phone, man. Like to be honest, there's like that app Scandy, I think, or one of those apps. You could just scan your head. You know, I just use this because I already had it. If not, I would have scanned. I have my own scanners, but I would have just scanned this for. I just need a template, you know. And like I was telling you guys can use the stuff that comes here with ZBrush. Like you guys could just use that guy, the demo head, as your base, and then from there measure your face. You know, measure like your cheekbones, your eye corners, and then kind of put those into that guy, and then at least it'll get you the ballpark. So no, you don't need to scan your face and spend money on that stuff too. But if you get more into it and you want to do more, potentially you can, but no need. So let's see. Let's do a little bit more of that gorilla nose. Just a little bit, not too much, but it looks like gorilla nose have like a peak where it kind of comes down. So instead of it going up, we're gonna probably change that and see what we can do to go down. But obviously, we need to make sure we don't like we don't penetrate the scan, you know. Keep the filter going. That was a nice touch. But yeah, I tend to use, you know, kind of like we blocked the big shapes out. Now I'm kind of looking to see what we can do with the secondary stuff. How can we make that more organic? So maybe what we could do is do two results, right? One where it's more organic and one where it's more hard surface to see like which one looks better. So I kind of like the idea that this is kind of tucked in. So I think what I'm going to do is push this out so that we can, so that it's not penetrating the scan, but still keep that look. And we can do that by kind of enhancing the top part and pushing the inside in, so it still keeps the illusion that it looks like it's sticking out, but it's not as much. You know, and if it gets a little thin there, that's fine. Maybe that could be part of the breathing hole. So I guess we have to make the jaw a lot bigger because we need a strong jaw. So we're gonna play around with that now. Yeah, gorillas just have all kinds of fur. Let's see a gorilla skull. Maybe that might help. So here's kind of what I'm looking at. So you see, I kind of maybe need to expand that out. What I could do too is make it into two pieces, right? Make the lower jaw part a separate piece and the top part, and keep the gap. Ugh. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. A little sleepy. So we can probably potentially just make this bigger. But then, you know, we're just gonna hit this with a little bit of smooth to see how it's catching light. Feels like the nostrils could be a little nicer. This could be on a separate plane, just sticking out a little more. So that way they're not almost in the same plane. Let's see what it looks like without teeth. I think it feels like a... Yeah, that's the whole point of the music. Like, I feel like if it was just quiet, it would be kind of a little boring, but the music, I feel like it helps, right? It's kind of relaxing, goes with the theme. This is, I was starting to look at this and I feel like, oh, man, it's starting to feel a little bit Mandro-like. So, you know, we'll play around with that idea, but it's a little bit mixed between different apes and, you know. Dynamesh this. So they were talking about layers, right? So we're going to try some of the layer stuff. So let's say this is kind of our base and we wanted to make this a little more hard surface, right? We can start playing around with the H polish by feature. You know, that kind of helps clean some of these things up. Right, we could just keep doing that and getting the surfaces nice and clean. So let's say we wanted to make this a little more mechanical. We're going to go that route, right? I probably want to get rid of more of the lumps, but we'll just continue this way. Yeah, because right now we're just blocking out this mechanical guy. And it's also pretty low. We're not going to dynamesh it because we have layers. So if we have layers, that means we cannot dynamesh it because it'll destroy this. But you see what it's doing? I have the power to be able to kind of do that. But we could always up-res it, you know. Yeah, I should change it to some mech thing. This is like too like kind of Lord of the Rings and whimsical, right? Let's see, what do we have? Let's try epic. He's happy. Yeah, I'm using this app called Pretzel Rocks because you're wondering. It's free music, so it's good because it's free. Oh, all right, that feels kind of apey, right? Let's continue this idea, and then we can also just, if you want, turn the face off. But I think it's good to have it on. Turn that layer back on so that it records. So the main thing with layers is to make sure that they're recording when you're using them. Hey, how's it going, man? Thanks for joining the stream. So even at this lower resolution stage, you guys can see what's happening. You know, it's it's starting to feel hard surface, more mechanical, less of that organic feel. And even though it's rough, but at this distance, it's starting to get there. You know, and that's kind of what I'm trying to give you guys. That you guys can go any way as long as you guys block it out in a decent form. You guys can go any direction you guys want, and that's the power of all this stuff in ZBrush, right? So like, let's say you wanted to make that a little more mechanical and get rid of those little lumpy stuff and just kind of hit it with H polish and kind of replaner that whole surface. And just smooth it a little bit, planer it. And now sure, you have a little wobble, not a big deal. So you can just easily clean it. You gotta be gentle with this stuff. Yeah, I speak Spanish. ¿Por qué? ¿Qué pasó? ¿Tienes una pregunta? Give it a little bit of a trim, right? You know, if your hands are not steady like mine, you can always turn out the lazy step to be higher, but I like this organic feeling of this thing. So sometimes adding those things kind of helps, but sometimes it doesn't. Let's see, what can we do with the lower lip? Make it more interesting. Kind of split it up. We need to get rid of that bump. So what we can do is mask it. And all this stuff is playing with shapes, right? That's what it's all about. So we want to get rid of that. See, kind of it's missing something there. We can do either clay or inflat. I call it inflate, like most people do, but this way you can play around with the different materials and kind of see what's going on. Even this one, right, feels more mechanical. Oh, thanks. Pues todo es la práctica. Haces muchos, ¿cómo se llama? Mistakes. Muchas cosas que se hacen que no te gustan, pero tienes que practicar. Es todo la práctica. It's all about practice. That's what I'm telling him. It's all about just. It seems like it's easy, right? But that's because I made a lot of mistakes in the past, and I make a lot of mistakes now. And whether it's professional or just this type of stuff, you got to get those mistakes out of your system. That way you can make the more, like the more fun stuff, you know? So we kind of keep that theme going. But yeah, a lot of it is just getting the mistakes out of the way so that then you're free to create. And that's when the fun really happens, you know? And sometimes you guys seen me struggle, you know, everybody struggles on this stuff. Sometimes the design doesn't want to work with you and it sucks. But sometimes it does, and you know, hopefully you guys dig the stuff. Hopefully you guys learn something from it. Pueden aprender un poco de mis errores que hago. Sometimes you try things and it doesn't work out. So you see here, we need to start doing the same thing we did on the top, and kind of, I think here we can divide this up. But yeah, hopefully this helps you guys, so you guys can create your own stuff and, you know, post it and make it reality and wear it or not wear it, or make it for a movie, make it for a TV show, make it for a game, or just make it for you. And a lot of the stuff that I do, I just do for myself, you know, and hopefully people like it. If they don't, it's all good, because I got it on my system, it was fun, and I move on to the next thing. But here I'm just trying to separate this bottom part so that it feels like it's kind of coming in, so that it feels more organic. Oh, gracias. Hey Randy, how's it going? You need to learn everything, right? So a lot of the stuff that you need to learn is like, how do you match design? You know, you want to match, you find a concept and you match it. And how close can you match it? You know, that's one skill. Retopologize is another skill, because sometimes you'll just be cleaning up scans and retopologizing them. Texturing as well. How do you do basic textures for background stuff? You know, because maybe that's the way you start. You start with doing some background elements, props, maybe a car, vehicles, and then if you want to do more character stuff, then you can move on to more character stuff. But, you know, it's really up to you kind of what you want to do, but I think all of them are pretty essential. Well, right now, since this was a scan, it's actually my dimensions of my head, so you know it's what I have. But most of the time, it's just whatever. Like, I just start with a basic form that's not the right size, and then I go back and remeasure at the end. Oh, hope that helps. But yeah, this is kind of this is the approach that I would take for more like like if I wanted to do more of a mechanical thing, you know. And then from there, I would fine tune all this stuff. But I'm basically, it's all the same thing, right? Primary forms, basic forms. Don't go crazy with detail, and then we can refine all this stuff to be nicer and sharper and get all the wobbles out and all that. And that's kind of what I'm trying to show you guys, that this is kind of the way I would approach it. And maybe you should give this a try if you think it's if you think it gives you results like I'm getting, and if you like the results that I'm getting, then maybe this is a way to kind of try it out. How are we doing on time? Okay, well, we'll just continue with this since we're doing both versions. Are you guys cool with that? Is this actually helpful, or you guys are bored and you're like, this sucks? As you guys are tuning in, it's good to get your feedback. That's the reason I ask, you know. If I didn't care, I would just not even talk. But yeah, that's the nice thing about ZBrush, that you can do anything with it. Digital clay. But yeah, it's all about the practice, guys, to be honest. It's just like you guys got to put the practice time in. And then from there, you get better. Okay, that's awesome. No, I'm glad it's helping one of you guys. Even if it helps just one of you guys, that's all that matters to me. So here's kind of where we're at, you know. We could also probably add teeth, see what that looks like. You know, maybe he's looking to too down, not down enough, like his attitude, or maybe we need bigger teeth, you know. So I'm looking at this guy. Um, he's kind of growling, but his teeth are maybe a little bigger. So maybe we'll play around with that since we have these teeth. But let's go back to show you guys the layer stuff. Well, let's make some more major changes, just real quick. See, so here I'm kind of running into the problem again that I want to kind of push that in. So I need to kind of do it the other way around, right? Kind of tweak that so that it's out. So you're gonna have to change the music. I don't know why this is like Jack Skellington style. Which is I love Jack Skellington, but not right now. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. No, this is great. That's the whole point, right? Like you could print your own helmets. Like I wanted to print this in one piece, but I wanted the detail, so I had to cut it into pieces. But I'm printing other things that are helmet size that are bigger. More voices on this stuff. Let's change this. All right, there we go. We just want like ambient noise in the background. What kind of printers do you have? I feel like I've seen your name before somewhere, either on Instagram or something, maybe. I guess something to consider if I'm doing this for other people as well is maybe their ear position is not the same spot, so maybe I don't want it to go as perfect as it is, you know? Oh, Frozen Transform, cool. And oh, you got the new rays. Oh, the rays are great, man. I just got a Facebook message saying like I had my rays for about 4 years and it's been great. And I have the first ones from the Kickstarter, so it's been a great machine. You're gonna be happy with that, especially with that one that has all these other upgrades. That's a really nice nice machine. Let's see, we have a question. No, this was done long time ago with an old school scanner that I used to run for a VFX company. That's like what is it called? Can't remember the name. Cyberware. It's a cyberware scanner that kind of went around your head. But yeah, you could do it with photogrammetry now. I have iScan, or you could do it with your phone. So anything really works. Reality capture, or even Agisoft or MetaMesh or whatever it's called now. Oh, gracias. Well, let's play with this stuff. Kind of like a cybernetic ape-like thing. But let's tweak these guys too. So let's play around with the same thing. Well, let's check the layers out so we kind of talk about that a bit. So for you guys that haven't used layers before, layers are awesome because they keep the initial state that you started with in case you want to try variations, kind of like what we're doing now, right? Let me just save. Because last thing I'll hate to do is click and then it crashes and then we can't talk about what we're actually talking about. So in this case, we're going to make two versions. One that's more organic, maybe with fur and stuff, and then this, right? So what's nice about it is that we started with this base and we're like, we're kind of happy with the overall shape. It's not great, but we're okay with it. So in case we wanted to come back to where we can, right? So what layers allow you to do is make another variation and just have it in a layer, and then you can see if you like it. And even now, let's say I wanted to make the nose bigger, you can make another layer, tweak the shape of the nose, change this whole thing completely, maybe make it more like a pig or something, make the nose lower and make it, pointy nose. You could change it completely And then what you could do is play around with this and be like, I kind of want like 50% of this. So you could dial that in and be like, I'm kind of happy there. And then you can make another layer and continue to work on it. So it really depends like what kind of stuff you want to do, or you could go reverse. Look at that. Like maybe that could have been cool if I didn't have a nose, but you know, this is just kind of showing you the possibilities. Or maybe we want to tuck it in a little bit. Maybe this is not too bad, right? But and you go just turn it off, and there you go. It goes back to normal. But that's a nice way. That's the nice thing about layers, that you can just do that. It keeps it flexible, so you don't have to duplicate the tool, and you can also see like what it would look like if you just blend 20%, 30%, 50%, and like maybe that you start from there and then you continue from there. That kind of makes sense to you guys? If it doesn't, I could give you a different explanation. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. Let's play around with the teeth. Maybe make the teeth a lot bigger. Okay, cool. Yeah, I just want to make sure that people understand what this whole thing about layers, why they're there. Most people don't use them. I don't know why. I know they used to have a reputation of not being the best, crashing a lot, but overall they're useful. But let's make some layers on this guy too. Why not? Since we're on, let's see. The reason I'm switching back and forth between these two, the gizmo and the new gizmo and the old gizmo, is because sometimes it's easier to reset the pivot, and because these guys are all over the place, the center pivot's going to be somewhere in the middle, which is not what I want. So layers, right? So make some layers for these guys. You know, then we could probably spread them out. So this is a good time when we want to use the overall just move tool, right? Because we want to get them all kind of in the ballpark. We could go ahead and insert another tooth in later. And now we could switch over to the move topological, and start making these guys much more customized. You know. And then we're gonna have to tweak the lips to make sure that it's going around the lips, because right now they're just kind of inserted out of the lips, which for most people that's probably okay, but for me it's not. Then we could also play around with maybe giving these guys more curvature. So it'll be nice if they kind of follow the curvature of what we have going on here, you know. All right, man. Thanks for joining. I'll see you next time. Maybe we need that last one to be see. So we have to go from all sides, right? Because maybe it looks good from that side, but from the front. But now they're starting to do some volume here. So let's give these guys a little bit of a push. And also, it looks like from the front, this one looking a little thin, so we can go into our. Well, we have to make sure we turn Dynamesh off so we don't accidentally Dynamesh it, since we're using layers. Just checking the chat, make sure nobody's asking questions, and I'm ignoring them. So even 3/4, right? Starting to get a little wobbly there. I change that up a little bit. Well, we could do something like that, or just remove the teeth, or maybe just have 2 teeth, you know. Or we could do too is flip them around if we needed the other type of teeth, you know, like teeth going down. So so we could duplicate this guy and take symmetry off. Well, actually, no, we could just flip it using this guy here. So here we just have to adjust the other teeth. We could either adjust the top ones or the bottom ones. If we wanted to have those type of teeth, you know. Now, to me, I don't know. I don't like that. So we're probably gonna change it. Yeah, each subtool gets their own layers, so it doesn't work. So only per subtool. But yeah, let's remove these guys or turn them off. And then let's say we like these teeth. So let's go back to our layers here. Add another layer. And we have to tweak that lip, right? So we could go in here, invert that, and then tweak the lip so that it feels like they're coming out of his mouth. So here I could leave this as another cut, which could work because it's mimicking this shape, or I can just remask that whole part down. So we could see if we like that or not, you know. Maybe we just see the little tips of it. Maybe we don't see the whole tooth. What we could do is we have that version right in layers, and then we have another version that's in another layer. And because all this stuff is in layers, we can just turn it off. See, or tweak that layer. I'm gonna make a new one. So we'll push this out a little bit more, but we're gonna tweak that guy. It feels more natural to not have all of them sticking out. We could still add more of that curvature and probably some thickness on them too. Let's see. So this guy has this on. That's why you keep getting this weird paint. Because I accidentally painted RGB, but I keep turning it off because it's kind of annoying. So it look better from the side if they're coming forward, like they're arching out. So that way it's more like this, you know, like if it was to be biting you, which I would hate to be bitten by this guy. And even then, they're probably a little too big. We could just grow the tool, or the brush, I mean, and then just shove them in a little bit more. That way it's just the peaks. Check the front view. Yeah, you see that's less intrusive, right? That doesn't feel so like, hey, here's some teeth because we need some teeth. It's more designed that way. Let's change this off. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Well, then from there, let's say you like this design, right? Like you're at the mask level. Make sure you're selected. Now we could go and fine tune this guy if we wanted to, right? So now we can duplicate the tool, turn the original tool off that has the layers. And now that we're happy with this, we can bake these layers down. We can remesh it so that it's nice and clean, maybe at a higher resolution, maybe 128. Right, because right now there's not enough polys to kind of support these edges that I put in. Right, like it's nice, but it's not what we want. So now what we can do is go a little higher, dynamesh it, and see it clean some of those up. They're not perfect, but at least they're clean. So now what we can do is like just hit them with smooth a little bit to get rid of the like a little bit of the chunkiness that they got added. Hopefully this is not too boring for some of you guys. Now we can start refining some of these edges that are kind of like start messing around with this thickness. It's maybe a little too thick. To kind of make it all even, because it was, you saw that it was a little thick here and then not too thin there. And what do we want to do about this bridge of the nose? Like, do we want to split it into a V or kind of maybe take the curvature down a little bit, or refine it against the nose, right? And start refining this extra shape. So a lot of you guys 3D printing your projects straight from ZBrush, or so here I'm trying to make more design decisions, right? Like fine tuning some of this stuff to make it like now that I have the primary forms, how do I break that big shape up? So I'm looking at this like as a tier shape that I'm going to cut out and extrude. So there's another dimension to it, like a secondary shape or tertiary shape, Hey, what's up, Rudy? What kind of printers do I have? I have a Form 2, I have a Race 3D, and a CR10. Those are the type of printers that I have. A lot of them are for just prototyping stuff. For when I do shows like Monsterpalooza and that type of stuff. But I guess with these times, there's not much snow shows to do. See, I wasn't fully sideways. I'm trying to get this cut just a little nicer. So what I want to do now is kind of give that guy a little more sharper shape, Which is my favorite, probably the Form 2 because of the detail. But if I could find a bigger printer that has the same detail, probably another printer, or maybe the new Form 3, the large one. That's probably one that I want, but it's also pretty expensive and pretty pricey. So here what I'm starting to do is kind of separate these masks, because then I could do polygroups later or poly loops, and then refine based on that, so that every edge gets its own or if I wanted to separate those out, like if I wanted to move that as a whole unit, I could come and do that, you know. And now I'm separating that out, and then from there I could dynamesh it and refine it. But I don't want to do that quite yet. I just want to have those ready. Yeah, it would be nice, right? But it's just the amount of space that it takes up, and you know, the expense of how much it costs. That's another problem. One day, one can only dream. Okay, mask that. Don't want that. So I want to add that part into my current one. So that way I'm getting these sharp edges. You know, when I poly loop it, I'll get some nice edges all around there. And I can just put trims on or do whatever I want, you know. If you guys saw some of my previous streams, I had some other models that I did some detail in, like decoration stuff. So we could potentially do that to this if we wanted to. Kind of like scribing on it. But for now, I'm just kind of trying to define like some of these things that I see as design shapes from my primaries. Keep clicking the wrong thing. Well, there we go. It's not too bad. So what I want to do is sharpen mask. Get that nice and sharp, right? And then group it. So you see I'm starting to build my groups. I definitely don't want that part of my group. Yeah, this is meant to be a life-size wearable mask. On that blue, I can't really read it. My something can't. I can't read it. Yeah, it's meant to be the from the previous design. It's meant to be something like this that you can wear. You know, like and go outside and scare people. Stay away from me. That's all good. Totally, that's what I'm here for. If you have questions or you came in late, it's all good. But yeah, I'm kind of just trying to see the different shapes that I may need, and what I could do is like start taking some of these guys, masking them, and also just start playing with pushing them a little bit out, So you start seeing kind of what I'm going to be doing. Oh, I don't want to dynamesh it yet. I guess that got unmasked. Awesome. Not a big deal. We're just masking stuff, but that's kind of the idea that I'm going to be doing later. Well, that's cool, right? The Call of Duty get scared, but hopefully here they're not too states or in California they're not too crazy about them. I can't wait to finish painting my current one so that I can actually go out and see what the reactions are. I'm thinking of actually filming it, just wearing like a GoPro chest thing, and see how people react. But I don't know. That's just I don't know if I have time for that, but it'll be cool. Yeah, but that's pretty much what I've been doing for this mask, like for the mask that I printed out. It was not much more than this that I spend like I don't know, maybe 4 hours, like two or 3 hours one day, and then an hour fine tuning it, and then that's it. feel like this could probably have a cut inside. For some reason my shortcut for masking is broken now. It was working fine, and now it's not. Whatever. And I see it's not working. That's no big deal. I have the button right here, so it's all good. Let's see. Do I have an art station? Yes. Do I update it? No. But let me find it for you. I'm planning on updating it sometime, but I've been so busy with work that it's hard for me to do anything besides Instagram. That's why if you're gonna follow me in any or want to check out some of the stuff that I'm doing, check out my Instagram because I tend to post things there more. Well, let's see. For the measurements, you know, you gotta think of landmarks that don't move, right? So some of the things that don't change are like the corners of your eyes. So I would measure that. Make sure you measure the inside, the outside, your ears. But you really have to measure with a caliper that's around. You can't just measure with a straight line and then convert that. With these, you can measure with a straight line because they're pretty easy. But if you're doing like your ears or anything else, you kind of need round calipers, and then from there you can just make them straight, you know, and then put that into here or bring it into Maya. I mostly measure everything in Maya and just bring cubes in. They have the measurements, and then I scale everything up based on that. Yeah, updating. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's too much. Oh yeah, there's a link here for scaling stuff up too. So I guess. Oh, this is from Nico Industries. Yeah, yeah. So there you go. So you could use some calipers like what he has there for measuring. This is kind of what I was talking about. You know, so that way you get stuff to fit into your face the right way. But sometimes when you just have a scan, the measurements are already there, so you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, if you know, the major part that's going to get you, especially if you're doing something that's going to fit your face, is the cheekbones. Because if you measure right behind the cheekbones or in front, you might get the stuff not working correctly. So making sure that fits correctly is pretty important. I did a mask for a client recently, or not too recent, but one thing we noticed is that was not quite fitting. So, but in this case, since these masks are kind of right below the cheekbones, you kind of don't have to worry about it. It's a squishy part, so it's all good. Let's chase this music. You could just go anywhere. I would say, just to be honest, I would suggest if you have an iPhone, just use the iPhone and just scan your head. You know, just have your wife or your friend just kind of, you just sit still. So they go around you, and it gives you a pretty good, decent result. You know, before using this one, I was using the lower resolution one, but then I found this, and I was like, just kind of replaced it. But yeah, stay on the cheap on that because it could get pretty expensive if you start doing that type of stuff. But yeah, these are some of the cuts that I'm thinking of doing. You know, let me turn the wireframe off. I guess I lost the nose one too. Awesome. Um, some of the things I'm thinking of enhancing. I guess I have to do my nose once again. Oh, it was actually not even that. It was in here. See, I already forgot what I was doing. So here I'm just unmasking, just trying to get that, you know. And what I could do is, like, if I wanted to get that other peak that's right here, I just change the brush. Oh, sorry. Okay. Let's see, we got about 20 minutes left. But yeah, you guys can see what you guys can do in, I don't know, an hour and a half. If you weren't talking like I am, it's probably get it done quicker. But, you know, because I have to stop, it's takes a little bit out of me, but not a big deal. There we go. So now we have that. Yeah. I forgot what I had here, but that's kind of what we're going to go with. So I switch back and forth between these two modes. Makes it easier for me to get some of the stuff that I didn't get earlier. And if I'm missing some pieces, then I can go back in here and reverse it and group mask. But yeah, you guys can see this is nothing fancy that I'm doing. It's stuff. What happened? This other things are disappearing. Oh, my mask. That's what it was. There you go. Look at those jerks. It's weird. It doesn't want to mask those guys. There you go. So maybe a little glitch, but it happens. So let's check that out. It's kind of what we're dealing with, you know. Probably do something for spiders. I don't like it. Let's go with that, like that. But yeah, what do you guys think of the design so far for something we started here on the stream? Nothing crazy. Yeah, we're gonna push this out. Yeah, it could be too big. I think you're right. I think we could probably change that. I think you're. Yeah, looking at it, it's yeah, let's tweak that right now. Oh, awesome. Glad you guys are digging it. Yeah, I think that helped with the lip, just making that smaller. Yeah, it was too big. It was just kind of overhanging too much. Yeah, thanks for that. Sometimes it's easy to oversee it and see it once you print it. You're like, oh, the lip is too big. But in this case, it was cut early, so I kind of want to make that. I want to make it taper to a thinner thing. Let me find my mask. Yeah, one thing I did too, if you guys checked out my Instagram, is I did a quick paint job in Substance Painter to see kind of what I potentially will be painting it like, and that helps a lot. I would highly recommend if you guys are doing anything like this to give it a. It's just like a little see potential what it's gonna look like when you paint it, you know, or if the scheme that you think have in your head might work or it might not work at all. So it's important to kind of see it from all sides too, right? Because we want to change, making sure that all these planes are. They're all slightly different. They're not all sitting flat, you know, because maybe from one view we spend too much time on one view, but then on the other it doesn't work. See, like here we could push this more for the jaw. So here's where we can go inside. Now that we have our basic shape, we can start taking away from in here because it's kind of annoying now. We have this sitting just there. We can turn on backface masking so we don't unmask anything we don't want to unmask, like we just did right now. And it's where you could just kind of manhandle this a little bit and get it a little flat. We could use my face as a boolean, but I'd rather just do this for now, and we'll eventually do that. I'm just trying to make sure that when I see through it, I kind of see if there's something wrong with the jaw, what's kind of going on. And in some cases I might push it too far, as you can see here. That's when you can smooth it with the higher. Hit this. There we go. We don't need. Yeah, hopefully I could wrap this up in the next like day or so. Let's maybe spend a little bit of time tomorrow after not seeing it for a day. And if it's all good, then I'll send it off to print. Kick this off to the form and see what's going on with it. So overall, I think the nose, we have enough room for the nose and nostrils to get some actual air in there. That's the important part. Mouth is okay. I feel like I need to tweak something about the jaw. Maybe I need to make the mouth kind of come up way higher. So now that we're getting pretty dense, this is when we can switch off to doing a little bit of different workflow. Now this is kind of getting the concept done. Now we can duplicate this, turn everything else off, right? Solo that guy. And go to geometry, because right now it's starting to get kind of too hard to move around, you know, like if you look at the density of this stuff, if I wanted to make major changes, it's gonna get all you're gonna get all kinds of little lumpy stuff, which is kind of annoying, and you don't want that. So it's time to ZBrush it. Yeah, you could do it with your iPhone. I done it with my iPhone. You know, maybe next time I could do a demo. I could do a little quick video how to do it with your iPhone if you guys want. Yeah, feel free to send me anything tutorial related you guys would like to see too, because working on the YouTube channel, so it could be nice to have some of these things to give you guys links to check out, you know. So there we go. We have this guy looking pretty clean. We lost some of the detail, not a big deal. Subdivide it once and project the current one we have. Right, project all. Need one more resolution, maybe two. Project everything. Let's do one more just to be safe. Project that. So that we retain all the detail from our previous thing. Yeah, I'm starting a YouTube channel, but I just haven't uploaded to actually any videos. But I will do it, and especially if you guys have specific ones you guys actually really need help with, I could concentrate on those more. Just keep checking my Instagram, my Facebook, and then I'll post the links to that stuff. So here I think we're pretty close, looking pretty good. So now we can go back and turn on the face, turn off the other one, this high res. And now we have this guy, right? And now if we want to make tweaks, we can go to the base level, make some tweaks. Again, do it in layers. Be smart about it. And now that we have our layer, go back to level 1. Oh, not inflate, but it should be mag VFX or just mag actually. I'll send check my Instagram. I'll link it on there because I'm working on finalizing all that stuff, but I'll have stuff there. And I'll have different types of tutorials on there, different types of tricks for like doing stuff in VR, doing stuff in an iPad, and doing 3D printing stuff. So you know, if you guys have suggestions, feel free to let me know because then I can help you guys with that. It'd be more specific as opposed to just me making tutorials of stuff that nobody cares about. So feel free to hit me up there, or suggestions, just send me an Instagram message. So you see, the nice thing about doing this in layers is that you can see that maybe pushing the lips up changes the whole design and makes them look more like less ape-like and more like the bottom's too big. It's not working. But turn it off, or maybe we can do somewhere in between. But no, I don't like it, so I think we're just gonna keep it as is. And you just delete the layer. Not a big deal. Maybe we just make a small tweak. We can also figure out if we want the chin to be pointy forward. Yeah, but this is kind of as far as we got. Not a big deal. It's looking alright, I think. One thing I do too when I'm let's save it. But one thing I do too before we go, we got like 5 minutes, is kick it to our friend Keyshot. Let's launch Keyshot and then let's send this over. Because it's always good to see a render, because then that's kind of how you're gonna see it in reality. So it's always good to check that out. Let me Keyshot down so you guys can see this. Right, so let's go to ZBrush. Do the render thing. Kick it off through that. Go to key shot. Sending it over. It's it's loading another key shot. Look at that. So there we go. Seems to be stuck. Hey, what's up, Hannibal? Oh, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you guys joining the stream. I know we only have like a couple more minutes, but you guys can see here kind of what direction we're heading, and if this is heading in a way that it reads well with lighting, you know, because we're gonna have this in the work, so you can kind of play around with that and see, you know, what this looks like in real light. Let's see, let's change the rotation of this guy. Not that one. There we go. Sorry. Yeah, the controls kind of weak. I just installed a new update, so it's doesn't keep my Maya controls for some reason. But yeah, we can see kind of, you know, much reading overall, and then we can potentially do a paint job on it and see what that looks like. Clean trench line. Do you have an example, an image of something so I can see kind of what you're talking about? That might help. Because you could always use those crack brushes. Those are pretty good. But yeah, let's quick prototype this and see, you know, if you like it. Oh, my face didn't come in, but maybe it didn't like my mesh. It's there. Just did it. It's been doing that to me for a while now where oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Well, you start today, man. You start today, and it gets in. You know, it only gets there closer. So start sculpting today. Sculpt the mask or sculpt whatever you like doing, and then sculpt some more. Keep going. Yeah, I used to create stuff for films and commercials and stuff like that, but not this stuff. I just did myself. It's just fun. But I do work in tech, so I work in a kind of different way of than what I used to. Okay, send me some screen grabs, Hannibal. We could chat about that. Yeah, but it's kind of what we ended up with. So you guys see where we're at, you know, with just an hour and a half worth of work, and then print it, and then wear it. Best way to follow me. Let me get those to you. Instagram is good, but there's couple other links. So let me send you guys that before I leave. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for joining me and having. Hopefully, you guys learned something, had fun, and now you guys can create your own stuff. Go from there. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Most of the time, I can reach out back and help you guys. But yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time. I stream every other week, so hopefully I see you guys again. Yeah, thanks. All right, guys. See ya. Till next time.